When the symptom rises, and it will, because on this human scene claims present themselves daily, I must ask you, before you do anything, to put up thy sword. Do you hear? Put up thy sword. No wrestling, no bargaining, no mental war. Do not hurry at this. Do not leap to your verses. Do not ply your affirmations like clubs, for that is still the confession that you believe in a power apart from God. Then said Jesus unto Peter, Put up thy sword into the sheath, is not a line for Holy Week. It is the first requirement for healing. Be still and know I am God. Now then, why do I say that? Because there is no power in form or effect. None. Not in the throbbing temple, not in the racing heart, not in the report that came by telephone. And I know that in the moment of panic you will say, oh, but this is serious. Yes, I know, but listen carefully. Panic is not protection. It is power giving. When you rush upon a symptom with clenched mind and flying phrases, you are feeding it with the only substance it can use, your fear. The attention you pour upon it becomes its borrowed breath. You are consenting unwittingly to its claim of authority. You are saying, I acknowledge you, I bow to you, and now I will fight you as if you are a power. Do you see the trap? We are not here to invent a new method with which to beat the body into obedience. No, I must insist. This is not to be used against the body. This is a discipline to stop using your mind and will as weapons. Spirit does not coerce. Presence does not argue. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The instant you take up arms against an appearance, you have confessed a second power, and in that confession you have chained yourself to the battlefield. Put up thy sword. Let us be honest with each other. We have all made idols of appearances. We watch the pulse, we measure the ache, we study the shadow on the wall as if it could speak truth. But I say to you, the symptom is a claim, not a commander. It has no authority except what it borrows from your belief. It demands your consent, and fear is often the signature on the paper. When you fall into argument with it, when you negotiate terms, if this eases, I will be grateful. You have bargained with mirage. Do not do that. Refuse it the sacrament of your attention as fear. Turn quietly and without drama to the one who alone governs. Be still and know I am God. I must ask you to accept this as students in a serious work. At first, it will feel like dereliction to stop defending yourself with thought. It will seem irreverent to drop the fight. You may even feel guilty for not doing something. But we are not here to win a battle by brighter ideas. We are here to be governed from within. For the kingdom of God is within you, and the within is not the intellect, it is the I that I am. There, governance is established without contest, and the body becomes the student who listens rather than the enemy who must be subdued. So when the next claim arises, do not wait for a convenient hour. Stand within yourself and make this your first obedience. I do not fight. I will not grant you power by fearing you. I will not decorate you with my attention. I behold you as an appearance only, without dominion. And then, gently, not as a weapon, but as a recognition, let the word form itself. Be still and know I am God. Say it, yes, but more than say it, assume it. Assume that the only presence present is the one presence. Assume that the only law acting is the law of God. And in that assumption, let the currents of panic run out of you like water from a broken cup. Fear not, for I am with thee. Not I and something else. Not I and a symptom. Only I. The healing does not begin when the symptom changes. It begins at the instant you refuse to fight, because in that instant you refuse to grant the appearance the status of power. That is the opening of this work. That is the sheath closing over the blade. And from that point forward, we will not be fighters, we will be beholders. Now then, if you have put up thy sword, you must also know who is standing there unarmed. For the purpose of this work, you must assume there are two of you in the room. Not two gods, not two powers, never that, but two senses of self in your present awareness. There is the personal me who feels, who reports, who is so quick to defend and explain. And there is the I, the inner one, the only presence and power, which is your true identity. I must ask you to take this not as a theory, but as a working arrangement. For the purpose of your practice, you will sit as two, me and I. Who does what? The me reports. The me says, the chest is tight, the head is loud, a fear is rising. It observes appearances. It can knock on the door and announce, a claim has presented. Then it is finished. It does not argue. It does not cure. It does not command. The I governs. The I sustains. The I is the life, the law, the order. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Do you see? Outwardly it may appear that you, this person with a name, have done something noble or skillful, but inwardly you will know it was not me, it was I, not might, not power, but spirit that moved and held. Be still and know I am God. Isn't your body your student? Isn't it your patient? And who is the teacher, your fear, or the I that I am? If fear is the teacher, every lesson ends in agitation, and the student grows more unruly with each correction. If the I is the teacher, there is no scolding, no whip, only the certainty that authority is present. For the kingdom of God is within you, within whom? Within the I of your own being, the one that now takes the seat of governance, symptoms. These claims are clever only in this. They speak to the me and entice the me to fix the me. And when the me takes the bait, fear multiplies. The me measures, the me strategizes, the me reaches for stronger words and harder prayers. This is still war. But when the I is acknowledged, when you quietly relocate identity, listen carefully, the claim loses its foothold because it has no audience. There is no second power to bargain with. The I beholds, impartial, unafraid, and in that beholding the storm spends itself without finding a sail to fill. And he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. Now you must not imagine that you will rebuke the wind as a person. You must let the I within you be the voice that is already peace. How will you do this? You take your seat as beholder. You say within, gently, me. Report and then be quiet. I govern. You let the me tell what it must once, and then you say, thank you, be still. And you turn, not outward, but inward to the I, and you let the word form itself, not as a plea, but as identity. Be still and know I am God. You do not push the heart. You do not order the breath. You make no attempt to compel. You acknowledge, you yield, you wait. And you will notice, perhaps not the first minute, perhaps not the first hour, but you will notice that something deeper than thought begins to hold you. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. This is not comfort only, this is government. Please understand, you are not to aim at improving the me. We are not polishing the apple of personality. We are not making a braver me or a more positive me. That would be to enthrone the student as teacher. The work is to relocate agency again and again until it is no longer an act you perform, but a life you are. At first, you will practice this many times a day quietly, secretly, until it becomes a constituted part of consciousness. Several weeks, yes, months if necessary, you will return to it. And then one day, without your arranging it, instead of you addressing, you will hear yourself being addressed. The I will take the initiative. You will find the me seated, attentive, under a governance that does not strain. I must ask you to accept that from this moment forward, in every encounter with a claim, this is the order. The me reports and obeys. The I alone governs and acts. Do not hurry this. Do not decorate it with effort. Be still and know I am God. And as this becomes the very atmosphere of your being, you will discover that the tyranny of appearances was borrowed authority, drawing life from the me's fear. Withdraw that life, yield to the I, and the appearance, having no host, dissolves into its native nothingness. Now then, before we proceed to the practice itself, I must give you the ethical ground without which none of this will stand. Never undertake healing work until you have established yourself in a complete state of non-aggression. I say complete because a trace of combat introduces a second power. And the moment you do that, you are praying to a god of appearances. Listen carefully. Every attempt to overpower a symptom, every clench of will, every inward shout of I will beat this is a testimony, your testimony, that the symptom has power. The struggle is the affidavit you sign, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. If you use might, you have confessed that something other than spirit is operating and must be subdued. That confession is what nourishes the claim. The paradox is simple once seen. Force is fear wearing armor. It is the me insisting it can outshout the storm. But the I does not shout. The I does not strain. The I is presence. Be still and know I am God. Not be still and make God do something. Be still and know. When you lash your mind against a sensation, you are prostrating yourself before it. When you curse the body for its noise, you prove you believe it can defy the government of the I. Do you see why I say put up thy sword? The blade is your belief in a second power. What then do I mean by a complete state of non-aggression? I mean this. No hatred of the body, no fear of sensations, no violent inner language, no moral accusation against flesh or nerve. The body is your student, not your enemy, your patient, not your opponent. You do not say, you wretched thing, behave, for that is the teacher losing his authority and taking up a whip. You do not say, I cannot bear this, for that is the student grading the teacher. Instead, you take your seat as beholder and you let the quiet of the I fill the room of you. Be still and know I am God. In non-aggression, there is no rush to correct, only the steady relinquishment of the notion that anything needs to be fought. Now, please do not mistake this for neglect. Non-aggression is not passivity, it is purity of allegiance. You may take wise human steps, lie down, take water, open a window, keep an appointment. These are not war, these are stewardship. But inwardly, you do not make battle plans. You do not negotiate with the ache. You do not threaten the pulse. You do not bargain with tomorrow. You remain in government, not reaction. The me can report there is tightness. And then the I answers, not with force, but with presence. Peace, be still. If a step is to be taken, it will arise from clarity, not panic. The steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord, ordered, not driven. Let me name, for the sake of our discipline, the common missteps by which we restore the idol to its throne. Scanning for danger, hovering over every sensation to predict catastrophe is worship of appearances. Arguing with the body, pleading, scolding, promising is worship of appearances. Rehearsing diagnoses, playing yesterday's report as if it were scripture is worship of appearances. Predicting outcomes, charting decline, or recovery in your imagination is worship of appearances. In each, you are lighting incense at the altar of form, whispering, "You are a law unto me. Hear me. There is no law in effect apart from the I that I am. The wind may blow, the waves may lift, but until you let fear interpret them, they cannot speak with authority. Get thee behind me, Satan," is not an insult hurled at flesh. It is the dismissal of the fear story that would possess your gaze. At first, you will catch yourself mid-bow. You will feel the old habit rise, the urge to push, to argue, to press, and you will lay it down. Again and again, lay it down. This is ethical work. This is spiritual honesty. If you find yourself using truth to hit an appearance, stop. Return to the sheath. Put up thy sword. Stand in the one presence. Let the inner word reassert itself, not as weapon, but as identity. Be still and know I am God. Because we are not fighting. Do you see how necessary this is? We must learn the method by which governance is established without force. Stillness is the mechanism, not silence born of exhaustion, but stillness born of recognition. In a moment, we will take our seat above the storm and allow the body to become receptive to that which is always present. For now, accept this foundation. Force is the confession of a second power. Non-aggression withdraws that confession, and in withdrawing it, you unmask the claim as only that a claim, an appearance without dominion in the light of the I. Now then, we will do the thing itself. Sit quietly. Do not hurry. If it helps, close the eyes. Let the breath be as it is. No counting, no forcing, no improving the breath. We are not here to train a dog. We are here to take our seat. Settle your body as you might settle a child to rest. No threats, no bargains. A simple, we are sitting now, and then be silent. Do not begin with the symptom. Do not scan for the ache, for that is to start the meeting by handing the floor to the claimant. Begin with your place. For the purpose of this practice, I want you to assume that you are seated as if upon the top of your brain, just above the head, looking down within. You are not buried in thought. You are above the whole arrangement, the beholder. Look down, not into the symptom, but into the field of your being, as if you were overlooking a temple at dusk. Quiet, spacious, you are up there, and you can see without anxiety. And from this place you speak, not as a person straining, but as the I that governs. Be still and know I am God. Not thrown like a stone at the body, not pleaded as if someone far away must run to you. Spoken as government, gentle, firm, without strain. Be still. When you say it as one who is already in possession of authority. Do not lean into the word. Let the word lean into you. You are not suppressing thought. You are taking your seat above thought. The me may rise to report. There is a tightness. There is a fear, and then it is thanked and seated. The I addresses the whole house, not the squeaky stair. Be still. If a flare-up begins, if the symptom shouts as storms do, the witness does not shout back. The witness does not argue doctrine with wind. The witness keeps his seat and states without heat what is peace. Be still. Again, if necessary, again and again if the surf is high. Ordered, not driven, he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, Peace, be still, and there was a great calm. You are not performing that as theater. You are yielding to the one who is that calm within you. Please mark this well. This is not auto-suggestion. You are not hypnotizing a body into compliance, and if you find yourself trying to stop, return to your seat, We are not attempting to make a sensation go away by persuasive speech. We are making the whole being receptive to an already present governance. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He maketh, not by your whip, not by your cleverness, by presence. The words, be still, are not a charm. They are the acknowledgement of what is true. All power is in the I that I am. In this acknowledgement, the body hears not a scold, but a certainty. And as a student, it begins to listen. Now, take a few minutes like this before you address any condition. I must insist on that. Do not rush in with corrections. Sit as the beholder until you feel even faintly that you are above reaction. It may take 3 minutes today and 30 seconds tomorrow. It may take 5 minutes for a week. Do not measure. Take your seat. If thought hurries to outcomes, you do not wrestle with the thought. You reply from above, be still, and you let it pass like a gull across your horizon. If fear presents a script of catastrophe, you do not edit the script. You dismiss it with, get thee behind me, to the fear story, and you remain where you are. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Let that speak if it comes. Do not reach for it as a tool. Stay with presence. As you practice, notice how the room of you changes. The noise may still visit, but it finds no host. The me reports, then sits. The I governs without volume. And in that government, action, if any, is ordered of the Lord, not driven by alarm. This is the first movement of the calm protocol. Before you lift a finger to address a claim, before you lift a verse, you must be seated above the storm where stillness can be established. Be still and know I am God. Now then, remain where you are, above, beholding, and let us allow the word to descend through the temple. Begin at the head. Look down as if the skull were a quiet dome, the mind a sanctuary, and speak, not to chase thoughts, but to establish government. Be still and know I am God. You are not squeezing the brain. You are not hunting noise. You are setting the tone of the house. The brow, the eyes, the little muscles that hold the stare, be still. The cheeks, the lips, the tongue that wants to argue, be still. The jaw that has been your soldier, clamping against imagined siege, be still and know I am God. Do not pry it loose. Do not order the teeth apart. State the truth and wait. Presence, not pressure. The student hears when the teacher is certain, not loud. Now let it move to the throat. The gate of speech, the place where panic rises to declare a verdict, be still. If there is a lump, let it be a claim only, not a commander. Do not interpret it, do not prophesy with it. Be still. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Quiet governance, not gagging. Down to the shoulders, those old beasts of burden. Drop the yoke you have imagined. You will not force them to lie down. You will tell them the truth. Be still and know I am God. All the way through the sockets, into the blades, down both arms, browsing every corridor of muscle and nerve like a lantern without heat. Upper arms, still. Elbows, still. Forearms, still. Wrists and hands, oh, the hands that want to fix, to grasp, to manage outcomes, be still. Fingers that count risks, that tally sin and merit, be still and know I am God. Come to the chest not as a mechanic with wrenches, but as presence with law. The heart is not your enemy, it is your student. If fear rises in a wave, permit it, as you might allow weather to pass across an open field. Do not give it words. Do not label it danger. Peace, be still. Again, if necessary, again until the body recognizes safety in you. The diaphragm, the bellows, the place where sob and sigh announce themselves. Be still. You will not hold the breath. You will not improve the breath. You will sanctify the breath by refusing to make it a god. Be still and know I am God. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God. Believe then by non-aggression. Withdraw confession from the wave, and it will spend itself without a story. Now the abdomen, where old alarms keep their stores, be still. Do not diagnose. Do not investigate. Behold, the hips, the pelvis, the hinge of carrying the world. Be still and know I am God. Into the spine, all the way down, as if the column were hollow and receiveful, each vertebra a small chapel into which the word descends. You are not straightening it with will, you are lighting it with presence. The places you cannot see with eyes are seen from above. Be still. The nervous system itself hears this. Presence meets it, not alarm. Remember, the body is the patient and the student. Your role is witness and teacher by the eye. No scolding, no whipping, only government. Be still and know I am God. Carry it now through the legs, thighs that brace to run or to fight, be still. Knees that have knelt to many idols, appearances, predictions, human authority, be still and bow only to I am. Calves that carry flight, be still. Ankles, feet, the travelers of your days, be still. And into the toes, each little outpost, all the way to the tips, as if the whole form were a single instrument that has been retuned without being struck. Be still and know I am God. Do not hurry back to the head. Sit another breath in the completed field. Let the house feel what it is like to be under one government. If a corner still stirs, return to it without impatience. You are not patching leaks. You are letting the tide of presence rise until all floors float level. And I must ask you to practice this not less than several times a day for 5 minutes at a time. Set no stopwatch in your soul. Simply take the seat and let the descent occur. Morning, perhaps midday, perhaps evening, whenever a claim presents or does not present. We do not wait for storms to practice the helm. In time, and this is the certain fruit what begins, as your addressing will change, and instead of you addressing, you will hear yourself being addressed. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Do not reach for those words as charms. Let them come when they come. Your task is the steady, quiet acknowledgement. All power is in the I that I am. The body yields not to your willpower, but to the quiet authority of presence repeatedly acknowledged. Be still and know I am God. Again and again, until the student no longer waits for the bell, but lives attentive under a government that does not sleep. Now then, since the house is under one government, let us state the central truth upon which all of this rests. The sensation may continue to appear, but it is not a commander. It is an appearance only, a claim. It can knock on the door. Yes, it can rattle the window if permitted, but it cannot sign its own warrant. It cannot issue orders to the mind unless you hand it your pen. The shift I must ask you to make is exact. The body may report, but it does not rule. The me may announce, but it does not interpret. The I alone governs. Be still and know I am God. When the claim announces itself, and it will, sometimes loudly, sometimes as a whisper under thought, meet it, not as a debate, not as a fight, but as recognition. There is no power in form or effect. All power is in the I that I am. Do not throw those words as stones. Let them be the light by which you see. If you find yourself hurling them, stop. You have picked up the sword again. Instead, from your seat above, allow the sentence to flower as simple fact. There is no law in the ache. There is no authority in the flutter. There is no verdict in the throb. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. And from that resting, say it once more, not to persuade, but to acknowledge. Be still and know I am God. Now, expose the real noise beneath the noise. Ask quietly, what am I afraid will happen? Do not make a theater of it. Bring the fear belief into the light where it is seen for what it is, a story asking for your consent. I fear I will faint. I fear the heart will stop. I fear I will be humiliated. Good. You have heard the tempter. Now withdraw consent. Get thee behind me, not to the body, but to the fear story that would possess your gaze. You are not dealing with health at this moment. You are dealing with idolatry. You have bowed to a narrative as if it were a god. Straighten. Return at once to your seat. Be still. Let the storyline pass like weather. The sky of you is not moved by a script. Please mark this well. We are not practicing denial. We are not pretending. The sensation is not present. The me can report. There is tightness. The I does not scold the reporter. The I simply refuses to treat the report as command. Feeling is not authority. Appearance is not power. When Peter saw the wind boisterous, he feared. The wind did not push him under, fear did. Why didst thou doubt? The lesson is not to lie about the wind. The lesson is to refuse the wind, the crown. You will not argue with your nerves. You will not plead with your pulse. You will stand in one presence and say, with the authority of identity, peace, be still. And then you will wait without bargaining until the borrowed breath of the claim runs out. Consider this for your practice. A flare arises in the chest. You do not sprint to examine it. You do not read it for omens. You do not calculate tomorrows. You take your seat. You ask, what am I afraid will happen? You hear the fear. You answer, there is no power in form or effect. All power is in the I that I am. You do not repeat that to convince the chest. You rest in it to unmask the idol. Then you turn gently, simply back to the whole house. Be still and know I am God. If you must, 3 times. If you must, 10. Not driven, ordered, and you remain until the tide of alarm has no shore in you upon which to break. As you persist, this ceases to be technique and becomes constitution. The recognition ripens into consciousness, and something beautiful, inevitable, occurs. Instead of you addressing, you will hear yourself being addressed. It is I. Be not afraid. Do you hear? Not you rallying courage, you being upheld. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. These are not phrases you drag in to decorate a practice. They come unbidden when consent has been withdrawn from the idol of appearance. Then, even if sensation visits, it enters a house governed, and it must behave as a guest without dominion. This is the core revelation I am pressing upon you. Symptoms lose their tyranny the instant you stop treating them as power. Let them be what they are, a claim, and deny them what they seek. Your fear is consent. Take your seat. See through. Withdraw the story. Acknowledge the one. And if a voice is to speak next, let it be the inner I that already is government. Be still and know I am God. Now then, I must tell you what ripens out of this steady work, and I must ask you not to reach for it as a prize. At first, you say, be still, as a craftsman repeats the measure again and again, not to coerce, but to establish accuracy. It may feel mechanical. Good. Make it careful, not feverish. You are turning the soil, but as you persist quietly, secretly, something changes. The word begins to rise from a place you did not push. You discover, one afternoon perhaps, or in a midnight watch, that instead of you addressing, you are being addressed. It is I. Be not afraid. Do you hear? Not a quotation pulled from a shelf, but a voice within your own being that does not argue, does not bargain, simply announces itself and with it a sense, not an emotion you pump up, not a thought you hold with teeth, a sense of companionship, inward and effortless. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. It is not recited, it is recognized. Do not attempt to manufacture this. If you try to stage the inner voice, you are back in the theater of the me. This, I tell you, is the government of the I taking the initiative. The same presence you have been acknowledging as principle introduces itself as experience. The two in the room, the me reporting and the I governing, resolve in a silence in which only the I is active and the me is simply at rest. Here it is. You are no longer straining to reach God. You are being reached, upheld, addressed from within. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Not a faraway promise here, present, functioning as order in the very place where fear used to seize your speech. Now, in a flare-up, what changes? You stop peeking at the body to check your progress. That is fear in a lab coat. Monitoring is bargaining. Instead, you listen for governance. You take your seat and you ask, not as a test, but as obedience, what is mine to do? And just as holy, what is mine to yield? Sometimes the instruction is, do nothing, sit, be still, and know I am God. Sometimes it is, sip water. Sometimes call and change the appointment. You see, the steps are ordered, not driven. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, a lamp for the next step, not a floodlight for all futures. The steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord, steps, not sprints. You feel the difference. Panic hurries, presence orders. Panic shouts. Presence speaks once and is enough. I must also prepare you for the in-between. There will be days that feel dry, when your words feel like chalk and the room of you seems empty. Do not condemn yourself. Do not condemn God. Return, quietly, secretly. Take your seat as if nothing were amiss, because, in truth, nothing is. The covenant has not shifted, because your weather has. As the hart panteth after the water brook, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. Let the thirst itself become prayer, not accusation. There is no scoreboard in this practice. When it is dry, you are faithful. When the river runs, you are faithful. You do not pry the door, you wait at it in peace. Again you say, with no heat, be still and know I am God, and you refuse to look sideways to see if anything is happening. That refusal is your non-aggression renewed. Notice, too, the quality of safety that begins to enfold the body. The presence does not wrench you into quiet. It does not snap the reins or drive you like cattle. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He maketh, he leadeth. The restoration is gentle, and it is certain when the mind ceases to interfere. One day, in the very midst of what used to set you running, a stillness covers the chest as if a larger breath were breathing you, and you will understand what I mean when I say you are being held. And there was a great calm, not a dramatic seizure of power, but the ceasing of an argument that never had two sides. So the turning point is not an event to chase. It is the ripeness of trust. The practice has taught your whole house to recognize government. The me has learned to report and sit. The I has been allowed to speak and act. In time, you will find that in the instant of alarm, your ears turn inward of themselves, not to catch a phrase, but to register, command, or quiet. If there is no word, you abide as wordless consent. If the word comes, you follow. Either way, you are not alone. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Continue, then. Without drama, without announcement, take your seat. Let the inner government address you when it will. Be still and know I am God. And little by little, demonstration by demonstration, you will learn not just to do the practice, but to be held by the one who is its author. Now then, we must unmask the most persuasive voice in the room when a claim arises: panic. Panic is a false prophet. It foretells futures it cannot see. It names those prophecies wisdom. It demands immediate action and calls that demand responsibility. Do you recognize the costume? Take no thought for the morrow, was the master's counsel, and yet panic takes many thoughts for many morrows and insists you must kneel. Hear me, panic does not know tomorrow. It only knows how to multiply images. It is fear preaching in a hurry. What is the mark of this false prophet? It predicts outcomes, attaches the prediction to sensation, and then says, move now or perish. It will borrow even holy language to frighten you, quote statistics, recite testimonies, replay scenes. It is a motion picture operator. It lives by projecting, and if you sit in its theater, you will forget that you bought the ticket. No, do not argue with the film. Stop the projector. The me may report a rush, a tightness, but the I does not consent to be drafted into a story. Here is the word clean, simple, and I must insist you use it exactly where it belongs, not to the body, not to nerves, to the suggestion itself, to the whisper that there is a power apart from God. Get thee behind me. Get thee behind me, Satan, is not an insult to flesh. It is the severance of allegiance to the fierce story that would take the throne. Say it as severance, not as spell. Feel the cut. The suggestion goes behind. It does not lead. Then immediately do not pause to inspect the stage. Return to one sentence. Be still and know I am God. Not fast, not with clenched jaw. Be still and know I am God. Allow the words to be government, not weapon. You are interrupting hypnotism, not fixing a body. Now the practical interruption must be learned as you would learn a craft. When the inner movie begins, do not peer at the screen. Drop your gaze inward and upward to your seat above the storm. Say the severance. Get thee behind me to the belief that this appearance is commander. Then rest the whole house in one sentence. Be still and know I am God. If thought rushes to outcomes, you do not chase it. You repeat the sentence once more, evenly, as one who is already under government. You are not attacking yourself. You are refusing to be mesmerized. Perfect love casteth out fear. Love here is allegiance, single, undivided. Fear cannot command where your consent has been withdrawn. Please mark this well. You are not disciplining a naughty organ. You are declining a lie about God. The body is your student. It is not your adversary. Panic would turn you against your own house and call that fervor. No, put up thy sword. Keep the non-aggression. Your firmness is not fury, it is fidelity. You may lay down, sip water, open a window ordered, not driven, but within you hold to one sentence until the nervous system, that diligent student, recognizes the teacher present and ceases to run the halls. Be still and know I am God. At first, you will feel only a small shift. The noise is loud, yes, but there is a thin ribbon of quiet under it. That is demonstration. Do not despise the day of small things. The next time the ribbon widens, another time the wave rises and breaks of itself without a story, and you are still in your seat. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. First peace while the symptom still appears. Then stability, less trembling in the imaginations. Then tangible change. The body obeys the climate of consciousness that has been established. Do not hurry this. Proof grows like dawn. You will say one day, not with bravado, but with quiet knowing, Oh, now I see. The appearance never had power. My fear fed it. If the prophet of panic returns, and it will knock, repeat the severance without drama. Get thee behind me. Return to one sentence. Be still and know I am God. Again, if necessary. 70 times 7, if necessary. Each time you refuse the movie, the projector grows weaker, until at last you do not need to say much at all. Presence is already speaking within. It is I. Be not afraid. This is the exit from the trap, and it is always near. You do not battle the body. You dismiss the belief that would make the body your terror, and in that dismissal, suffering cannot multiply. Be still and know I am God. Now then, I must show you why the smallest proof is not small at all. Do not wait for fire from heaven to believe that the principle is in operation. When the Wright brothers left the ground, for those brief seconds, the world did not say only seconds. The world said, we can fly. The minute in the air was everything because it proved the principle. Despise not the day of small things. The first time your breath does not hasten, though the claim knocks. The first time the chest loosens by a hair's breadth while you are seated as beholder. The first time you sleep 1 hour more than fear predicted. Do not sneer at it. That is flight. That is the principle, showing its face through your consent withdrawn from appearances. Mark it quietly, secretly, not to parade, but to let your own heart say, oh, this works as law, not as luck. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And I must reframe for you what a demonstration is. If you confine demonstration to the vanishing of sensation, you will miss 9/10 of your proofs and starve your faith. Demonstration is not merely that the symptom goes silent. Demonstration is that you remain unafraid while a wind passes. Peter did not sink because the sea had waves. He sank because the gaze divorced itself from I am. So, when a wave rises and you do not hand it your gaze, when images come and you do not buy a ticket, when you feel the urge to run and you remain seated, this is demonstration. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. Peace while the picture still runs is stronger proof than peace after credits. You are proving that appearances are not power, that government is within, and that the me can sit while the I governs. How does the body learn this? The same way any student learns by repetition in the presence of a calm teacher. Each time you refuse to fight, the old grooves of alarm are not fed. Each time you say evenly, be still and know I am God, the nervous system hears certainty without whip, and it takes the new cue. What used to sprint at the first shadow begins to wait for your word. Old pathways, fear running to its familiar drama, lose their traffic. New pathways, stillness at the bell, are paved. Do you see? You are retraining the house by non-aggression. You are not drilling a soldier, you are fathering a child. He maketh me to lie down, he leadeth me beside the still waters. He maketh by presence, not by pressure. And so, 70 times 7, if need be, you return to one sentence, and the body, that diligent student, comes to anticipate the tone of your governance more than the shout of the world. Now, a caution I must make plain. Do not measure, do not check, do not peer beneath the soil to see if the seed has sprouted. That is not stewardship. That is fear in religious clothing. Monitoring is still worship of form. If you keep a tape measure around your chest to see if God is present, you have confessed a second power. Take no thought for the morrow. Take no thought for the symptom either, as yardstick. Seek ye first the kingdom, the inner government, and all these things find their level without your fretting. Each time you are tempted to inspect, to rate, to score, your quiet return at once to your seat and to the one sentence, be still and know I am God. The plant grows when you cease to tug at it. Let us be clear. about scope and time. This is not a 7-day experiment. I must ask you to dedicate months, 3, 4, and then more, not less than several periods each day, to establishing this consciousness, not to courting results. Do not announce it. Keep it secret. Practice in the small claims that cross your path: an agitated thought, a spike of worry, a twinge at midnight. Prove the principle where you are. When a cold wind of imagination rises and you remain unafraid, that is your kitty hawk. Next time a stronger gust visits, and again you do not yield power to the picture. Each proof builds dominion, until there comes a day when a storm that would have emptied your house now passes and you are not moved. And you will say, not with noise, but with settled knowing, oh, now I know. You cannot fool me now. There is no power in form or effect. All power is in the I that I am. This is how certainty is born, not by argument, but by practice. Letter becomes life. Stillness becomes reflex. The me learns to sit without bribery. The I is welcome to govern without interference. One small relief, then another demonstration by demonstration, until unshakable knowing stands where panic used to preach. Continue, then. Do not measure. Do not hurry. Put up thy sword. Take your seat, and each time, for as long as it takes, let the house hear the one government that frees it. Be still, and know I am God. Now then, a word that must be received as safeguard, as boundary, as love protecting its own. Do not use this practice to get results. The moment you sit with eyes on the outcome, you have armed the appearance. You have confessed a second power. You have taken up the sword and called it prayer. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. All these things are added as byproduct. They are never the bait for which we angle. If you practice to manipulate appearances, you restore their power. If you practice to yield to presence, appearances dissolve into their nothingness. So put up thy sword. Take your seat for God, not for gain. Thy will be done, not my symptom be gone. I must ask you to keep this work secret, not hidden out of shame, but sealed to preserve its sincerity. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Do not perform this to impress a friend, to prove spirituality, to collect testimonies. Do not narrate your sittings on the telephone. Do not post them on the walls of the marketplace. All worship is wrong when done for display. It leaks strength. Keep the purpose of it secret. If the temptation arises to demonstrate your newfound calm at a dinner table, smile, excuse yourself inwardly, and return to one sentence within, be still and know I am God. Let the fruit speak for itself by its quietness. You do not have to announce the tree. Next, the discipline, and here I must be plain. Truth ripens from letter to life only by season. Expect weeks and then months, not days, for consciousness to be constituted. Do not be grim. Be faithful. Structure yourself simply. Each day, not less than twice, take your seat deliberately, morning and evening if you can, long enough for the word to descend through the body and fix your identity as beholder. 10 minutes, 15, 20. Do not hurry. Do not time God with a clock. Then, several times during the day, return to it for a 3 or 5 minute period, especially when there is no crisis. We do not wait for storms to practice the helm. In a flare, do not scramble. Do not do the practice fast as if it were a fire extinguisher. That is fear in a uniform. He that believeth shall not make haste. Sit, acknowledge, be still, and know I am God. Sever the story. Get thee behind me and abide until the inner weather changes or until you are told quietly to take a simple next step. Ordered, not driven. Please understand the difference between technique and surrender. Technique keeps the me at the wheel, turning knobs for outcomes. Surrender yields the wheel to the inner eye and takes the role of witness. One is force, the other is fidelity. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Your task is not to pry at the lock of sensation. Your task is to cease confessing it as keyholder. If you find yourself peeking, is it better yet? Return at once to your seat. You have turned the prayer into a lever and the symptom into a god. Put up thy sword. Be still and know I am God. Now, what is the aim of such steadiness? That the practice cease to be a special event and become a way of living in the body, governed, patient, unhurried. The house learns its government. The student recognizes the teacher's tone and ceases to bolt at every sound. In the shop, at the sink, on the roadway, the same sentence hums without strain, not recited, but present as climate. You breathe, you move, you choose, but not as a hunted animal, rather as one led beside still waters. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. This is integrity. This is the safeguard. You do not practice to get. You practice to yield. And because you have yielded, the tyranny of appearance finds no consent in you, and it resolves, as all shadows do, in the presence of light. Continue, then secretly, faithfully, without haste or theater, put up thy sword, seek first the kingdom, be still and know I am God. Now then, let us make this living usable and always the same, because in the hour of heat you cannot invent a ladder, you must climb the one you have worn smooth with use. Here is the sequence, and I must ask you to keep it exactly, without hurry, without theater. First, notice the claim. A sensation rises, a picture knocks, an image of danger begins its speech. Do not crown it. Name it rightly. An appearance, a claim, not a commander. Second, refuse the sword. Put up thy sword. No fighting, no bargaining, no frantic checking. He that believeth shall not make haste. Breathe once, not as a technique, as acknowledgement, and let the whole impulse to attack fall to the floor unpicked. Third, take your seat as beholder. Assume, as we have practiced, the two in the room, the me who reports and the I who governs. Withdraw to the upper seat, above reaction, above explanation, and there establish government with one sentence, be still and know I am God. Fourth, let that sentence descend through the body as teacher through a classroom. Look inward over the head and say, be still. Through the brow and jaw, be still. Down the neck and shoulders, along both arms to the fingertips. Be still. Across the chest and back, the ribs and diaphragm, be still. Down the spine, hips, thighs, knees, calves, into the ankles and toes, be still. Speak as you would to a diligent student, kindly, firmly. You are not at war with life. You are fathering a house. Peace, be still. Fifth, dismiss the fear story precisely where it hides. Ask, what am I afraid will happen? Let the story step into the light. Then sever allegiance, not to the body, to the suggestion, get thee behind me. Say it once clean, without heat, and do not look back to see if it obeyed. Immediately return to your seat in one sentence, be still and know I am God. Sixth, listen inwardly. Do not demand a voice. Do not perform quiet to extract instructions. Wait, as one already under government. If a word rises, sit, sip water, call follow. If none comes, abide. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. A lamp for the next step, not a searchlight for futures, ordered, not driven. Now the pivot you must remember in the strongest gust. Do not demand the body calm down. That would be you confessing it as ruler and yourself as its subject. Govern your relationship to the sensation. Refuse fear. Refuse haste. Remain in the one. Presence and calm follows as byproduct, not prize. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Gentle persistence is the law. If the mind runs, bring it back without scolding here to the seat, to the sentence. If the symptom remains, remain. Do not read the clock and call it failure. In your patience possess ye your souls. You are training the house by constancy, not conquering it by force. All the while, keep the relationship clean. Speak inwardly to the body as student, never as enemy. Be still. You are safe under government. The I is present. You will feel one day and then often that you are not holding yourself together at all. You are being held. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. And in that realized company, the winds may blow or cease, but your heart is fixed. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. This is the sequence. Notice the claim, refuse the sword, take the witness seat, be still through the body, dismiss the fear story, listen inwardly. Repeat it as many times as needed, 7 times, 70 times 7 until the atmosphere changes, not because you conquered an appearance, but because you refused it. Power. The sober promise is this: peace is a present fact. Healing unfolds to your sight as that peace becomes the climate of consciousness. Return to it in every flare. Your safety is never in fighting harder. It is in returning again and again to stillness and the government of the I. Be still and know I am God.